What's up, guys? Happy Friday. Chuck Silver and Nick Marro here with Occupy Fantasy to bring you some DFS strategy for DraftKings and FanDuel. I think we have a pretty hilarious slate on DraftKings. Just Myron Gardner at the top of ownership changes things a little bit over from FanDuel, but we'll get into it. Nick, how we doing?
Yeah, man, good. Definitely some ugly chalk here today that we can talk through. Last time we were on together, I was really anti Quentin Grimes. Even worse, some of the chalk we're seeing today. That one ended up pretty neutral, I think. Definitely a roller coaster ride there. But yeah, Myron Gardner pushing 60%. Let's chop it up, my man.
Yeah, on that one, and this is kind of similar to that Quentin Grimes situation. Not really, since they're both min price, but just 3K on DK is different than a 3,500 play on FanDuel. And Myron Gardner having power forward eligibility, maybe that affects it. He's projected for 57% ownership. We only have him for 18 minutes, but remember the other day, Quentin Grimes was like 4,400 on DK. We said you probably just have to play him there. The five whatever it was on FanDuel is a little different, and if you faded him on FanDuel, honestly, I think you're pretty happy about it. He put up 27 on DK. You're happy with 27 at the 4K he was, but
Yeah,
Myron
yeah.
Gardner kind of similar. Maybe Khalil Ware is a better one at 54 on DraftKings, 6K on FanDuel, but he put up 12 stocks yesterday. I'm going to be playing a ton of him again.
Yeah, I don't know how you get away from Khalil Ware right now. The whole issue with him has always just been Eric Spoelstra. Like he didn't like him. I mean, he liked him. He just tried to motivate him to the point where he was barely playing any minutes. Now that he's firmly in the rotation, they get a bunch of guys out tonight. I do feel pretty confident in him and his minutes.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Well, we were already missing Powell, but Andrew Wiggins is out too now. And just the minutes that Khalil Ware's been seeing the past few days, it would just be very, very surprising to see him lose these minutes
Yep.
when they're down another player. And what do we have him for? 28, 29?
Yeah,
I'd be okay
Fontecchio
even.
and Jovic also out of that rotation. So
Okay,
uh,
so he played 29, 29, 32. What do you think about giving him an extra 2 minutes on top of that 29? He's already top of value for the day, but I'm going to have a ton.
yeah, I have no issues with it. I mean, going through game logs, he has played back to back, so I don't think there's a major concern there. It gives me
Both
some
sites.
pause, like in giving him extra minutes, but at the same time, I mean, why not? But at the same, like in the same breath, same sentence here, I think a few of those minutes might be going to Myron Gardner, and that's why people are rushing to get to him. But I feel so much better about Khalil Ware, even as chalk.
Yeah, even just looking at the value, Myron Gardner's good, but I mean, he's the min price. We have him for 17 minutes. Maybe he starts, and in that case, we're probably just going to play a ton of Myron Gardner, but he is down the list, and while he's the cheapest guy on the list, there's some other guys we should be interested. So let's go ahead and jump into it. I think that, yeah, that Heat game's first. So let's start out with this. We already got into Ware and Gardner a little bit with Wiggins, no Powell. What else were you looking at here?
Yeah, I may have misspoke and said Larson. It's Fontecchio who's out, not Larson. Jovic has been out for a while. He's part of that front court rotation. Um, I mean, other than that, it's pretty much par for the course. Is a back to back for them. I'm not super concerned about it though. Tough matchup on paper, but they're all kind of priced where they should be. Short rotation. Hero looks good. I mean, I don't really want to rush to him in this matchup, especially on the back to back. It's been a while since we've seen him really play into the mid to high 30s in minutes. I don't think we're going to see that here. Where's my favorite by a pretty wide margin, honestly. But I will say, like pivoting to Bam in tournaments makes a lot of sense. If he's not going to be popular at all here, obviously he has a similar or even higher ceiling than Khalil, where even if they're on the floor together. So I think the bigs are the best options here. Don't mind mixing in pretty much everything else. Honestly, Larson, who I mentioned might be out, isn't. He's in. He's going to start and be taking extra shots here. I actually think his minutes are as safe, if not safer, than Heroes. Obviously, scoring dependent, as is Tyler Hero. But yeah, whoever starts is going to look good. I'm not rushing to Davion right now just because he's working his way back from an injury. It's a back to back for him. But pretty much everyone else here, man, looks really good.
Yeah, as for Bam, I agree with you. His ownership is pretty low, and he's put up a couple of good games recently. I've been pretty down on Bam this whole season, and the model doesn't love him for value today, so I didn't get much, and I'm probably just going to leave it that way. But we're getting a ton of Khalil Ware taking shots on Tyler Harrow. And as for Jaime Jaquez, so the model really dislikes him, but his ownership is actually showing pretty strong on both sites. As long as he's under 6K, I'm actually okay with that one.
Yeah, I'm with you. I do like Jaquez. A little bit concerned that the model's not quite getting there, but he's been pushing 30 minutes pretty consistently, putting up numbers when he's out there too, taking a ton of shots as he does, hitting the boards more than he did last season, which is obviously good as well for boosting his floor. But 18 points last game, 20 the game prior. I mean, he's over 14 4 in a row. You love to see that from him, especially with the short rotation. They need guys who can shoot. They need guys to create their own shots tonight without Norm Powell or Wiggins out there.
Okay, nice. Are you setting any types of rules, max 3 or max 4 heat in a lineup?
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing single entry, you know me, so I don't really have to. But
Okay.
hypothetically, I mean, I probably wouldn't want more than one of like Drew Smith or KJ and Jacunius. I honestly prefer Jacunius by a pretty wide margin. Um, I'm not really rushing to Davion, but I think the point guards are more likely to kind of cannibalize each other than maybe the bigs are here. Like I said, I'm pretty confident in the minutes for both wings. I really do like Jaime and I do like Pele, so if anything, it would just be making sure I don't have Drew and Jacunius in the same lineup or anything like that. I don't imagine I would be landing on that though. They don't look too great.
And last note on Gardner, he is a pretty good fantasy points per minute guy. He just doesn't often get minutes. I'd feel better about it if Drew Smith was out tonight, even though they don't exactly play the same position. But this is one I think we do want to be careful. I mean, he's min price guy. We know the power of min price guys for building lineups, but this is absurd. Yeah, if he starts, it's different. But if he's not starting, I'd be pretty careful with it.
Yeah, if he starts, I think it's a no-brainer. But I don't see how they don't just go Mitchell, Hero, Larson, Ware, Adebayo against this big lineup. I guess it would be Gardner who would start with Ware coming off the bench if that's the way they want to go. But that's what we're keeping an eye on. And I will say this: even if Ware comes off the bench, I know we had the question in Discord yesterday. Just play him; he looks excellent here regardless. But I see a lot of sites projecting them to go big today, which would put Gardner on the bench, which should drive his ownership down. And I don't know that people adjust that quickly.
Okay, nice. We'll have to pay attention to that closer to lock.
Yeah,
So
that matters.
the other side of this game is the actual best team in NBA history by multiple metrics. It's actually insane. We were talking about Abade last year that he was one of the best defensive players of all time, and he's kind of the backbone here. Lamelo's playmaking has been insane. Concanuple's 3-point shooting, and Brandon Miller kind of taking that next step. So the model's actually not, or the model's actually kind of into these guys. They've been a little bit lower the past few slates, but I always am down to take tournament shots on basically all the starters, and maybe Kobe White is creeping in there at 2 and 1%. We can take a couple shots on him.
Yeah, I mean, he's really that bench scoring option right now. He's still very cheap though, so I don't mind it. But yeah, I like Brendan Miller the best. It's kind of been the flavor for these slates where this team is healthy. You can mix in Canuple. Ball's minutes tend to get capped at 30, so the ceiling for him isn't always there. But yeah, Miller's been excellent. He's my favorite here. You can make a case for any of the starters though, and Kobe White off the bench.
Yeah, I'll say Miles Bridges is probably my least favorite one, but the model thinks he's okay today. At slightly lower ownership than a couple of his teammates, so I don't mind that one either.
Yeah, I mean, he's really taken a back seat to some of these other guys, but it's been good for the team, which you love to see. So, hurts him in DFS, but he is cheaper. The price does continue to fall, and at some point, I mean, he's going to be a buy low. I don't know that it's today though.
And I am with you on Brandon Miller, just pretty much every day being my most exposed player from this team.
Yep.
I wanted to get into the chat a little bit. We didn't say what's up to you guys. Ben, Derek, Unicorn, HB, Heath. Appreciate you guys showing up early. Jose was asking if we're building around Jokic. Yeah, I guess that's a pretty big part of the slate. What's your quick answer to that, Nick?
I like him. I do want to get to him, but again, it's going to depend on how much value we have. But if we're looking at OF index, he's 2 points higher than everyone, including Wemby, and very, very low owned. Like, kind of surprised he's not getting more love here. So yeah, if you can afford Jokic, do it. But at the same time, I don't know that we quite have that value yet, especially if Gardner's not starting. So we'll get to the builds at the end. Right now, he's my favorite play on the slate if I am paying up, but that doesn't mean he's going to be easy to get to.
Nice. Yeah, I'm not jamming him in today like I have been on some of the most recent slates, but I'm over the field on both sides, so we'll see what kind of value pops up later.
Yep.
HB FanDuel making you think about Tatum. Joe Mazzulla, they asked him if Jason Tatum would be on a minutes limit, and he said, "I have no idea." It's like, all right, dude. So I think it's safe to assume he's on some kind of minutes limit. He's not going to come out and play 33 minutes. Is this the next game? We can get into Boston. Yeah, let's get into Boston.
Um, I think.
So yeah, we only have him projected for 17 minutes. Oh, FanDuel priced him at 5,500. I actually didn't even notice that. I don't think he popped up in my yeah, I got 0% even at 5,500 on FanDuel. So let's start with Tatum. Is he playable at 5,500, 2% ownership projected for 17 minutes in his first game in almost a year?
I think he is on FanDuel, man, and I think
Okay.
17 is kind of conservative. He's definitely on a minutes limit. Joe Mazzulla speaks in riddles, which is obviously obnoxious. But yeah, I think we could see him play 24 here, especially starting. Like that kind of tells me that they want him out there in key minutes. I think we see closer to 24. Again, that's just a guess. We have no real official word, but he could certainly get there at that price. On DK, unplayable at 8K, but on FanDuel, 5,500, if no one's playing him, I'll roll the dice a little bit.
Yeah, just eyeballing it, I think if I gave him 19 minutes, he would show up a few percent. And then if I gave him 20 minutes, he'd probably show up like 10% in my exposure or something like that. So he's not that far off. And then how does that make you feel about everyone else on the team? Someone asked a question today in the Discord I thought was pretty good. Do we start with showdowns before we break down like the core slate or the main slate to kind of figure out our cores? And because the pricing is different, the answer is no. But the big thing on the main slate that I think you can just start looking at is who's underpriced or who's overpriced. And since Tatum's coming back, he's a usage monster. And even though we only have him projected for low minutes, everyone here is overpriced. Some of them are still pulling ownership. So who are you still interested in?
Honestly, it's just Kada for me, and it's not a safe play by any stretch. He's cheap. He's been super boomer bust, but in matchups where he should be the better center, he's been performing like it. I think here against Dallas, who is super thin in the front court tonight, I'm seeing Dwight Powell as the projected starter. He should eat his lunch as long as he's out there, for lack of a better phrase. So I do like Kada at a low price on FanDuel and really low ownership on DK. I know he burnt a lot of people last time out, but this is a better spot than against our man Diabate.
Yeah, I'll mention Kata's pretty much the only Celtic I'm getting to on DraftKings. I'm getting a few percent of some of the other Celtics on FanDuel, but Kata is the only one showing up meaningfully at all. That 4,800 price is nice, model approved, 16 value. And then I'll just mention Baylor Shireman, 1 or 2% value to mix it in your 150 max set.
Yeah, I don't think it's crazy. I do think Tatum's going to cut into what he's been doing. And I always say when a team's getting healthy, everyone tends to be overpriced. Like Tatum coming back is a major impact to these guys, even in limited minutes. So, um, again, I think Kate is underpriced. Tatum's not going to affect him too much directly. Other than that, nothing I'm really rushing to. We also have a really wide spread here. Dallas is on a back to back, so that's kind of concerning as well.
Dang, Jose said my microphone's crackling. Yeah, I think this one's on the way out. A couple of people have mentioning it. Sorry, I hope it's bearable at least for this show. I'll try to fix it or just get a new one for the next show. If it's not bearable right now, though, I can switch to my webcam mic. Let me know. Um, yeah, what's up, Jayhawk? Happy to have you in the stream chat, man.
So, dude.
Sprinkle on Tatum first basket. I took one Tatum prop today and it was under 3.5 first quarter points, so he can score one basket if that's the only one in the first quarter. Turns out 25 minutes from Flag was enough. Yeah, that was kind of annoying. We'll go to the other side of this game, actually, Dallas. So Flag got there. He was basically 0% owned because his price is for him playing more than 25 minutes. What do we have him for today? 27. So we bumped him two on the back to back, still 0 and 1% owned. I mean, are we playing anyone from this team? No Gafford and no Bagley, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I wish they had better value at center because Bagby's out and Gafford and Lively and Sisse. I think none of them are available here, which makes it kind of an interesting spot. But what you're left with is Dwight Powell, which is really not something we're ever interested in for fantasy, even as the only center over there. So, not really. And you know, I'm a flag guy. It's just at this price. I mean, on the back to back with somewhat limited minutes, there's just better plays in that price range. Really tough matchup too. But yeah, I will say this: I think he could have played coming out of the All Star break. I think they're just being really cautious with him. They got training wheels on the kid. He is the future of the franchise now. They're going to treat him with kid gloves, and yeah, they held him out longer than he needed to be.
They own their first round pick too, right? They're trying to find Cooper Flag as his Robin in this draft, so they're incentivized to lose games.
Unless it's Kyrie.
Well, it could be
Kyrie loves him
Kyrie.
apparently, which is pretty interesting. They're boys.
Okay, you like to hear that. I'm getting 4% total exposure to this team, a couple tournament shots on PJ Washington and Chris Middleton on both sites, and that's it. 1% of each.
I will say Clay shot maybe the best he has all year last game. If he can stay hot here, 3,800 on FanDuel, not the worst
Or
dart in tournaments. Not something I'm rushing to though.
and Brandon Williams was back for Dallas too.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's 0% owned. He's above 6K now, so it's a little bit tougher. Yeah, just it's hard to have much interest in this team. But that PJ Washington call, 14 value on both sites. We'll take shots on that if we're making a bunch of lineups.
yeah,
The next game, Trailblazers Rockets. Let's start with the Rockets. Did we have some news on them?
yeah. We're waiting on some news here, I believe. Let's see. Sounds like obviously Adams is still out. Jabari Smith and Thompson both questionable though. That's very significant, especially for Reed
Thompson's
Shepard.
out. Thompson got ruled
What's
out.
that?
Or I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, sorry, Thompson got ruled out. They're throwing out tomorrow. I apologize.
Eamon? Yeah.
Yeah. So, are we building as if they're going to play or not? What do you think?
Um, I don't know. I kind of want this news. I mean, I'm not loading up on either of these first two games, if I'm being completely honest. So
Same.
it's kind of easy to wait and see. That's kind of where I sit right now. But like I said, I think if either are out, it's a big boost to Reed, who's been playing excellent. If both are out, Reed Shepard becomes arguably the best player on the entire slate. So it is worth keeping an eye on for sure. Um, and again, if either are out, it's going to be a boost to pretty much everyone else here. Decent matchup against Portland. I like Durant. I'm fine getting the Sengun. I think if you're not paying up for Jokic, either or there are very appealing options. But I'm hoping we get both guys ruled out. No Smith, no Thompson, and just load up on Reed, especially on DK. 6,200 for him. Even with those guys in, is a little bit too cheap. But if they're out, he's going to be in probably 100% of what I do today.
Yeah, if Reed is starting, we're going to feel pretty good about that 6,200. 7,100 is kind of a different price range. We're still interested, obviously, but it's a little bit different. We'll have to see how the industry projects him because if Reed stays, like if Amon gets ruled out and Reed is starting and he stays lowish owned, I'm going to be very interested in him. But if the field starts to get there, then we'll have to make decisions. But we'll see what the model thinks. I think if he starts, though, he's going to be a good play no matter what. Are there any role players that would jump up the list for you, or would we only mostly be interested in like the other guys, the starters on this list?
Yeah, I mean, they run pretty tight rotations over there, so not really. Yeah, it's like guys like Okogie, Green, like they're not really the type of guys that produce well in fantasy. So again, I maybe get to more Durant, more Sengun, more Eason, those three. Shepard would lead that bunch though, but yeah, I'm not really rushing to get to guys like Capella or Holiday or Okogie.
Okay, nice. We'll go to Portland. Drew
Portland.
Holiday, huh?
Let's see here. Shane Sharp still out. Chris Murray's questionable. Caleb Love, Dame Lillard. Denny is doubtful, which is obviously significant. Pretty good spot for Drew here. The price is up on him, coming off a really good game. Much tougher matchup this time around. Um, don't feel great about it, honestly, just because I don't know that we can trust him for 30 plus minutes, but he's playable at 7,500. Klingon's been a beast, but this is not the best matchup for him either. I'm trying to go through game logs here. Yeah, at 33 minutes, 40 fantasy points against Houston last time out. Digging here. He had a really bad game back in November against them. It's just not a good spot for him or this team really in general. I don't mind getting to some Drew. Other than that, I think it's difficult. Everyone just kind of priced what they should be.
I was kind of under the impression Sengun was a really bad defensive center, but he's not
He
really
is, but
bad.
I mean,
He's
the,
not super
he
bad.
he rebounds, and the issue is that everyone on Houston's 7 feet tall, so it does kind of hurt Clingan a little bit.
Yeah, I'm looking because I mean, whenever the model, well, Donovan Clingan's probably my favorite DFS play this season overall, but the model has him at 14 value, 10.8 OF index, and sub 10% ownership. He got ejected last game. He had 32 fantasy
That
points
killed me.
with
Yeah,
like 8 minutes left in the second quarter or whatever it was. I'm going right back there. I'm getting to a ton of him. This is probably my favorite tournament play of the day, assuming he stays fairly low owned. I'm not really concerned about the Sengun matchup. Donovan Clingan eats Sengun's lunch. I mean, Sengun's going to work him out too, but for the price, really likes Clingan as the tournament play of the day.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't argue with it at all. Again, I hope he gets over 30 minutes, but yeah, I mean, at his price, he's certainly worth it. He's been hitting value pretty consistently, and like if we're looking at matchups, like he had 50 against Gobert, which is arguably one of the better centers in the league. 26 minutes, pushed 40 fantasy points against Cleveland, who have an excellent defense. So he's kind of hit or miss regardless of matchup. So I don't want to look too deeply into that. But to your point, Sengun individually, not a great defensive center. Probably kind of overstating that initially. I think he's pretty solid. Yeah.
And Jose Denny is doubtful, so we're just going to assume that he's not playing. Then, did you say you're still comfortable taking shots on 7,500 Drew Holiday?
Uh, Again, I'm playing a handful of single entry lineups. I don't think I quite get there, but I do think after Klingon, he would be the only Blazer I'm really all that interested in, if anyone at all. And it's more like if my lineup just kind of lands me there. I do think he has enough upside to justify playing him, but not a priority by any stretch.
Wanted to see where I was on Chris Murray. Yeah, I'm gonna have to bump him up a little bit. Model thinks he's a really strong value at 6 and 4% ownership. This is a guy we can mix in as kind of a lower owned value. And then Scoot, man, what a fall from grace. I've been playing too much Scoot last few slates. He's been killing me. I feel like this is too much ownership for him, but he's still okay. I think if he shows up a couple percent, I'm not gonna get rid of it.
Yeah, here's a weird shout for you. So if Murray's out again, I think he's questionable. Scoot starts. I actually think Vit Krejci would be the pun I'd be most interested in.
Okay.
Not exactly model approved right now, but he's been more efficient than all these guys. Caleb Love is out as well, so there's kind of a lot of minutes to go around here. And yeah, Vit is the guy who could maybe play in the fourth quarter if this game were to get out of hand. And we've seen him spike ceiling from time to time. Not that I'm rushing to him or anything, but again, if Murray's out, even coming off the bench, I think 20 plus minutes of Vit Krejci could get you 20 plus fantasy points.
Nick don't like nobody today. Isn't that how it usually goes? We don't like anybody, and then like I like one player,
I,
Klingon.
I
The
mean, I said I liked Khalil Ware.
Yeah, it's like we play a couple guys we like, and then a bunch of guys we just kind of like, and hope it works out.
Yeah, I mean, my philosophy is to like poke holes in chalk, and then I don't know. I'll take a few stands in these games coming up. There are some plays I like.
We got some decent ownership on the Knicks going up against Denver in the next game. I don't know. No one super stands out to me, but I have a double-digit percentage of all the starters except for Cat. Maybe I need to bump Cat, but how are you looking at the Knicks?
Yeah, again, it's almost always the same thing with the Knicks. Like all the starters look fine. I think they're all priced about where they should be. No one really stands out, but I'm pretty comfortable having one of these guys in a lot of lineups. Um, I don't know. Mikhail's been pretty inconsistent. He has a ceiling. Hart, he's probably the highest floor play if we're talking about the wings. Him, OG, Bridges. So I'd probably get to him first. But it is interesting. He's ranking behind OG and Bridges in the model for I think the first time in a long time. I think that's a reflection of his minutes here. We have him at just 29. I feel like we might be a little bit low on Josh Hart where we're projecting him. But I think all the wings are fine. Cat obviously okay. Don't mind Brunson either.
If you don't want to have to make any decisions here, and the ownership is going along with this, but Mikhail has a higher DK value, so get to Mikhail on DraftKings, and OG has a higher FanDuel value, so get to OG on FanDuel. That's a site that they're cheaper on. Other side of this game, Denver. So we talked about Jokic a bit. We haven't hit that many value plays. There just aren't that many value plays available, but I'm still going to try to get as much Jokic as I can. Like you said, higher OF index than anyone else by more than two. His ownership almost always comes in higher than we project, but it should still come in fairly modest. And I think I'm just going to go into slate bumping him up kind of fat and hoping some value plays maybe open up later that the rest of the field maybe won't be able to get to.
Yeah, again, he's sub 15% owned. The ceiling's obviously tremendous. Highest OF index play on the slate. As more value opens up, he's going to be easier to get to. I do like Jamal Murray a lot
Yeah.
as kind of a tournament pivot. Lately, in lineups without Jokic, you play Murray, and those nights that he goes off, I mean, he could really carry you up a leaderboard. Over 60 fantasy points against Utah and OKC. 40 plus three of his last four games. He's been hitting pretty consistently. No one really gets to him because people, if they're paying up for a Nugget, it's usually Joker. There's usually other guards that we like on the slate. So he does get overlooked a lot more than he should. And I think he's finally healthy. He's been banged up a lot of the year, but consistently making shots now. 5 for 9 from three against LA, 8 for 13 against Utah. He's been aggressive beyond the arc. I think we're going to see that again from him here. Not the easiest matchup, but in lineups that you're not getting to Joker, I think there's a clear appeal to getting to Murray, even though it's not as much leverage as usual with Jokic not being that popular.
I'll mention that naturally I did not get any Jamal Murray over on FanDuel, so I had to bump him up a little bit just to get a few percent. And then on DraftKings, I had to bump him up a little bit just to get with the field too. So he's kind of tough to get, like similar to what we're saying with Jokic. We just don't have value to fit him in. But I wanted to look at Murray in relation to the other payups on the slate. He seems pretty good at that 9,100 price. It might seem a little high, but I think it's in line with the rest of the slate. So Jamal Murray coming in under 10% seems pretty good to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like him a lot. I
And
will. I do want to mention too. It sounds like Aaron Gordon and Cam Johnson could be back tonight. That's
okay.
really just going to muddy up all these secondary plays there. So again, it's really Jokic for me if I can get there. If not, I do like Murray, but all the mid-range guys might be slightly overpriced now. So proceed with some caution there. I don't know how many minutes a Gordon would play. I do think he has a ceiling if we're getting his normal run, but there's really no indication of what his minutes are going to be.
I'll just mention Christian Brown is the GPP play that I'd still be comfortable taking shots on. I think his minutes are kind of going to be there no matter what. Like maybe he doesn't hit the 40 or 45, but we haven't projected for 32, which is still pretty strong. And at 2%, 53, 5,400 lack of value. I think it's okay, at least to use as a placeholder. Maybe we can swap out of him later. Nick's like, eh. And then we'll go to the Pelican Suns. So Suns, Suns had some news this morning. Dylan Brooks arrested for DUI. Blew a zero point 0. Wasn't alcohol, but he is not playing right now anyway. But some fun stuff going on around the team. Pulling a lot of ownership. Oso Ighodaro, I think he's one of the more underpriced players. The model is saying he's a good value, but not like the best value on the slate, like the ownership might imply. Though, let's start with him, Oso Ighodaro.
Yeah, so I mean, we're getting the boost there. Obviously, with Brooks out, I'm trying to pull up the Suns here. Mark Williams is out as well. No Jordan Goodwin, who is a piece of that rotation regularly. So I think we are going to see Oso starting at center here against the Pelicans lineup that does tend to run a lot of small ball five. Coming off 2 games in a row where he's over 30 fantasy points. You guys have been waiting for me to say I like the play. I think Oso is someone I'm very comfortable getting to as chalk today. I do like him a lot here. There is going to be a boost in usage for guys like Booker, Jalen Green. At the same time, they're priced about where they should be. This is an excellent matchup. I haven't been playing much Booker at all this season, if I'm being honest, but with Brooks off the floor, his usage has been up, so I don't mind getting to him a little bit. Field is getting to him as well, though. Jalen Green, as scoring dependent as a player can get, but back-to-back games over 30 minutes, I think he's pretty appealing as a tournament dart. But overall, I really, really like Oso. I would get to Grayson Allen, but they really jacked his price up now to a point where I'm not rushing to get to him at all, especially if he's coming off the bench. He's been good, but how much meat is there on that bone if he's going to be over 7K on DK, pushing 7K on FanDuel? So it's also for me. I do like Booker. I don't mind mixing in some Green. Those are really the three I'm keying in on.
So Oso with power forward eligibility on FanDuel, I'm pretty comfortable getting there. I'm slightly under the field on him on DraftKings, though. Not too far under. He's still one of my highest exposed players today. And yeah, Grayson has been putting up monster stat lines recently. I don't know, 7 and 13%. It's probably appropriate. Not getting to too much from the rest of the team, though. It's really just Oso for me and just a couple sprinkles of the other guys, I guess. We'll go to the Pelicans. So Trey Murphy's been back. Zion's here. DeJounte's playing. It's a pretty good lineup they have on the court now. I guess these guys are just kind of tournament mix-ins. Who are you liking?
Yeah, my favorite play on DK is DeJounte Murray. No, he's still playing limited minutes. I do think they could slowly creep up, though. 6,400 for him and what he's been doing lately is too cheap. I saw a stat the other day. He's one of the only point guards in the league who actually averages more rebounds than he does assists, and he's pretty good at getting assists. I mean, it's not like he's hitting triple doubles, but in limited minutes, we're seeing him posting decent points and then like 5 boards, 5 assists every single night. Like he has a 40 fantasy point upside in these limited minutes. And if they do start to give him a few extra minutes here in what should be a competitive game, I mean, the ceiling for him is really high. So I like Murray a lot over on DK. On FanDuel, I mean, this team getting healthier, they are tougher to get to. Wouldn't mind getting to maybe some Zion, Murphy, and or Bay, but when all three of them are in, it's really tough to pick between them. So more just Murray for me on DK. Not much love for this team on FanDuel, but it's not a bad matchup.
Yep. I don't have any big takes here. I did see a few messages come in I missed though. What do we think about Vooch? I mean, he's always going to be a pivot to Kata. If Kata's going to come in pretty highly owned, Vooch is way more expensive. With Tatum back, I probably don't get there today, but I don't hate the idea of overpaying for someone to be contrarian when the player they'd benefit from is pretty highly owned.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't been playing Vooch since the deadline. He did have a few big games. He's gonna hit once in a while, but he's very much a tournament dart.
Uh, Kenneth said Miami has the lowest defensive rating. That means that they have the fourth best defensive rating. Like lower is better for defensive rating. They're one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. Ball is still good play, but don't play him thinking that Miami has weak defense. They're one of the strongest defenses there that we have.
Yep.
Apparently Tatum won't have a minutes restriction per ESPN NBA George Sedano. How much do we trust George Sedano? There's no way he comes out playing 30 minutes. It makes zero sense. They're projected to win by 16.
Yeah, but like I said, I think 25 is a good number.
Yeah,
And
I don't know.
if 5,500 on FanDuel, I honestly think he should be in a lot of your builds, especially if the field's not getting there. Yeah, a little bit surprised he's not getting more love. Maybe that adjusts by the time we get to lock.
I'm gonna try to. I'll try to remember to refresh this and see if we get an update for Tatum's minutes to see how much more playable he is on FanDuel. But we'll go to the next game. Is this the last game? Pacers Lakers is not on the main slate, right?
Yep, we got Clippers Spurs.
Okay, nice. So we'll start with the Clipper side. Benedict Mathurin is a little bit cheaper on DraftKings. The model's saying his value is actually pretty poor, and he hasn't been as high of a usage player since Darius Garland's been playing for these guys. He's Darius Garland's out tonight though, so maybe we can get back to Benedict Mathurin at least on DraftKings at 6,400 and 7,200 on FanDuel. I'm still okay taking some shots, just a little bit more uncomfortable and I can't get away from Derek Jones. Model says he's fine, so I guess this is one of the value plays the field is probably going to lean on a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, small forward kind of thin on both sides. I think Derek Jones makes sense. No Bradley Beal, obviously, no John Collins, no Garland or Niederhauser tonight. So they are missing a lot of key pieces. Kawhi looks good. People want to play the revenge narrative. Kawhi does not feel emotion. I wouldn't factor that in at all. I just
Does
want to
not
say that
care.
much. But as far as payups go on this slate, I do rate him pretty highly. I think he has 50 plus point upside if this game stays close. Fine mixing him in here. Matherin's okay is like a boomer bust play. I'm kind of interested in Lopez, and I am kind of biased. I'm a fan of his all-time Nets leading scorer, right? But with no Niederhauser there, he should play a few extra minutes, which at his price could go a long way if this game stays close. And another shout I need to give here is Isaiah Jackson. He's going to be his backup tonight. Dirt cheap. If you're looking for a pivot off of Gardner, you're going to have to use up a center spot, unfortunately. But Isaiah Jackson, very productive when he's out there on the floor. And as the true backup center tonight,
What the
I think we
hell?
could see 20 minutes out of him. If Brook gets in foul trouble or Wemby's taking his lunch, could play even more. If this game blows out, could play even more. I think Isaiah Jackson has a path being a really good tournament play here. Just wish he still had forward eligibility.
Hey Nick, today I learned Isaiah Jackson's on the Clippers. I love it at almost min price because Niederhauser's been closing. He broke his foot yesterday or the day before, right? But
Yep.
Niederhauser has been the closer over Brook. One of the games I watched the other night, like Niederhauser completely took over the game in the fourth quarter. So that's that's pretty disappointing for them. But I do like the Brook Lopez call too. He's kind of priced for less minutes than he's probably going to play tonight. Maybe we're under projecting his minutes. If you don't think we're under projecting his minutes, then I think you got to play some Isaiah Jackson because I think Clippers are willing to go small. I don't think it has to be one of Jackson or Brook Lopez on the court. Maybe when Wemby's not on the floor, they'll be comfortable with Derek Jones Jr. or Nick Batum at center for a few minutes. But those are the two most interesting players here actually now to me.
Absolutely.
We'll go, and I'll just mention Chris Dunn. Value score is pretty good. Maybe he gets a little bit overlooked on this slate, but I've been pretty into playing Chris Dunn, especially on FanDuel, where stocks are worth more, and his value score is pretty good over there. Last game on the slate, San Antonio. Big fan of Wemby recently. I'm over the field on him every day. We're getting him at 11 and 8%. This is probably, I mean, Jokic wasn't even coming in that high owned, though. It just goes back to the lack of value problem. So, how are you handling the Spurs?
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking about how I did want to get to Jokic. I mean, thinking about the matchup with Lopez out there, as much as I like him, this might be the spot. I mean, Wemby at low ownership, his ceiling is going to be tremendous. Obviously, we can't count on 36 minutes like we can with Jokic in a competitive game, but that Detroit game went to OT, right? He played 38 there. Very, very high ceiling. Really do like Wemby if you could find a way to afford him. That's a big if, though. I like having one of Castle or Fox in a lot of lineups. Night to night, it's going to be tough to pick between them. The ceiling's always there for them, though. They can both get there. But yeah, they're fine here. And then Vassell had a really poor shooting game last time out. I still like him, though. Prior to that game, he'd gone over 30 fantasy points 5 games in a row. Put up a complete dud against Detroit when I finally recommended him. But I'm fine going right back to the well here at absolutely no ownership. Again, small forward, often the thinnest position on the slate. I think it makes some sense to mix in some Vassell, who has been playing a lot better lately. And assuming Champagne gets to start, you can mix him into that group as well. But again, I think all the Spurs starters here look good. The bench rotations have been all over the place. As talented as Harper is, I can't consistently count on his minutes. Keldon Johnson was chalk at dirt cheap prices. I don't really want to go there. I like Wemby a lot. I like all the starters. I think Vassell's ownership is kind of egregious compared to the others, though.
Yeah, Vassell and Champagne have been model darlings kind of recently, and Champagne on FanDuel 14.6 is great, even at the 18% ownership. So I like mixing those two in. Like I think De'Aaron Fox is a fine price on FanDuel, but I kind of he feels overowned, but I kind of get it because optimizers are just going to plug him in because he's probably projected for a pretty decent fantasy score. But yeah, I think Wemby's still going to be my main priority here, and then I like mixing in the rest of these guys as just mix-ins, I guess.
Yep.
Any coffee? What team is Amir Coffee on these days?
I
He's
think
on the
I
Suns.
want to say Port. No, he's on the Suns.
Any Amir
He
Coffee
was
for
a
you?
Clipper. He's on the Suns. I don't know. I think I'd rather play Ryan Dunn if I'm taking someone off the bench there. Um,
Has he been
it's
playing?
not crazy as a punt, but again, I think if you could find the salary to get up to Dunn, his minutes are a little safer.
So he played 18 minutes or 17 minutes yesterday. Amir Coffee put up 18 fantasy points. We know what Amir Coffee is capable of. It's mostly going to be like 8 fantasy points in 22 minutes, 7 fantasy points in 21-minute type stuff. Once in a while, he'll give us 27 and 25. It's really hard for me to see how he gets 25 minutes tonight, though, even with Dylan Brooks out. So I think this one's a little thin. We've been talking about lack of value, but this feels a little too thin for me.
Yep, I agree.
Did Champagne have a late Q tag?
Um, yes, he does actually,
Okay,
which would make
so
me like Vassell even more.
okay, yeah, I agree. We'll have to see who would end up starting there.
It says right knee soreness. So
They hate starting Keldon Johnson, but maybe they just do it today, or maybe they start Carter Bryant since he kind of just runs around and doesn't do anything anyway, just plays defense.
yeah,
And, and
trying to think.
Bagley and
I
Horford
feel
are
like they
out.
don't want to start Keldon. I guess they could though.
I don't think they want. Yeah, they could. You're right. I mean, Dylan Harper. They haven't. I don't think they could start that three guard lineup with Vassell too. Maybe against this Clippers team, they could. They could get away with it. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I'm gonna refresh and see if we updated Tatum's minutes. Then we'll build a DraftKings dummy, and then Nick Unicorn, just Jackson 3900 on FanDuel. You're still okay with the 3900 for Isaiah Jackson over there?
Yeah, it's a large field, high risk type play, but yeah. Again, I think 20 minutes for Jackson at that price probably gets you over 20 fantasy points, which could be useful. Again, the guys we're trying to pay up for on this slate are the bigs, but we have Wemby at power forward, so I don't think it's crazy. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
fine with it. It's just you're using the center spot. That's really the one knock on the play.
So Tatum, we updated Tatum to 19 minutes, which pushes him above a 13 value on FanDuel. This ownership is probably going to come up a little bit. I'd be kind of surprised if he came in over 10%, but maybe he gets steamed up by some other sites. I'm trying to see if I can find where the rest of the industry is projecting him for, but let's get onto our dummy. I'm kind of seeing the issue that we're going to have with wanting these cheap centers because Ware and Iguodaro are both fantastic plays, but then we just mentioned Isaiah
Those are the
Jackson,
two
Brooke
best.
Lopez.
Yeah, I want to
Yeah,
keep Ware and Iguodaro. I think those are the two, which again takes us that kind of explains the really low ownership on Jokic and Wemby, right? Um, they're both
yeah.
center only.
I think I personally would be more willing to get away from Iguodaro in this situation, but keep in mind Ware is going up against the best defensive center in the NBA besides Rudy Gobert and Diabate, so it is a little bit of a concern. But who else do we want to start the dummy with, or do we want to start the dummy with these two?
Yeah, I would leave them in. I kind of think they're tough to get away from. Next in line, I mean, it's tricky. Like, there's not as many obvious clicks tonight as there has been lately.
Right.
This one's a bit of a left field play. I think DeJounte Murray at his price is phenomenal on DK.
Okay,
I
let's
don't
do
know
it.
if you're with me on that or not, but I really do like him.
I've been well over the field on him the last few days because the thing is he's already playing almost 30 minutes, and this is great that he's coming back this good because I don't know,
Good matchup, too. Yeah.
I kind of forgot how good Dejounte Murray was at producing fantasy points, but he's picking up right where he left off. What other value we got? Did we want to let me refresh the model and see if Myron Gardner's still up here? Myron Gardner. Yep, still projected for 50% ownership. I think we just got to put him in the dummy. Kind of changes the lineup construction if you fade him, though. Find a guy slightly more expensive.
Yeah. And again, if Gardner doesn't start, I'd probably get away from him if we can, but I think there's a good chance he does. I don't need that. I don't think they need Ware next to Bam against Charlotte. Hopefully, we get that news soon. Um, I don't know, man. It's a weird one. Like as far as payups go, like again, I think Reed Shepard. If I think we just got word that Amon's in, Jabari's a game time decision.
Okay.
If Jabari's out, Amon's a core play for me, but I don't think we're going to know that for a while. What
Hmm.
else? It's a weird
Yeah.
slate.
Am I
I
trying
like
to
Jaime at small forward.
Jaime? Look at us.
5,900 feels a little cheap.
His model score came up a little bit. Still very poor at 30 minutes. We'll throw him in there though, because it does intuitively make sense. He shouldn't be that low on the model. That's kind of interesting. It hates him.
Yeah, the model like loves Derek Jones, but like I have trouble expecting Jones to be a much better play than Jaime. I know we're paying up a little bit for that, but I don't know. I'm pretty comfortable making that pivot.
Brandon Miller.
Yeah, I love Miller. Go ahead.
All right, let's do Brandon Miller. We have a lot of salary to play with. It's a shame that positions exist because playing Jokic or Wemby in this one would be pretty sick. I mean, shooting guard pay ups. I really don't want to pay up for Jalen. I'm cool with Kawhi. I'm not excited about anyone else here though. Is there like Matherin would be the one
Yeah, I
that
think it'd
excites
be
me,
either
or
Kawhi or
Shepard.
Jamal Murray for me if you want to go with either of those two.
Does Dejounte have shooting guard eligibility? I want to get. I want to because the shooting guard position sucks. Dejounte, no, Dejounte's a point guard, so we'll get Jamal Murray in the guard spot. 9,100 leaves us 7,300 for a shooting guard. Grayson Allen or
It's like
Concanuso.
Castle or Canooples. Yeah, Canoople's good.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. One of those
It's not a
guys.
bad build. I mean, I like all the plays except for Gardner, but if Gardner starts, he's the right guy to have there.
Let's say Gardner doesn't start. He is not. Oh, he is starting. We just got the Heat
We
lineup.
did?
So
Okay. Yeah, that
yeah,
makes it easy. Just play him then.
the Heat.
And again, don't worry about Ware coming off the bench. Still love Ware. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's
Heat.
nice having that little piece of value, I think.
Yeah, I think this was expected. Davion, Tyler Harrow, Gardner, Larson, Adebayo. So Ware's still off the bench, which is fine because honestly, he gets more usage off the bench anyway, and he's still going to play over 30 minutes.
Yep.
So okay, all right.
That's
Anything
a
else we
beauty.
wanted to? I was going to see what the industry. I don't think the industry is bumping up Tatum that much unless they haven't done it yet. Maybe they're still working on it, but
Yeah, I mean, coaches lie. We learned that over the years. Missoula, as much as anyone, I think he's like, I don't know, speaks in poems. But yeah, I'm fine with Tatum on FanDuel. I think he's a really good play there and somehow a very sneaky play. If he only plays 20 minutes, like 5,500 for him, what he's capable
Yeah.
of, I think he's a solid option.
Well, we appreciate you guys tuning in. I think Jayhawks got the Discord covered. Instructions to join that are in the description below. Make sure you sign up for the site so you can see the model updates later. We have plans starting at as little as $7 a week. It's a dollar a day. It's a pretty good deal. We got MMA coming up tomorrow. I'm going to try to win as many MMA tickets as I can today, but pretty excited about that. And MLB spring training. We probably have some of the best advice in the industry. We always do for preseason stuff. So come and check it out.
Love it. Looking forward to it. Take care, everyone.
See ya.